Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Saptamodhyaya. We have come to 7th chapter. 7th chapter is called Jnana Vijnana Yoga. Usually to explain this chapter, I tell a small story. A student took swimming graduation in correspondence course. He got a gold medal in it. But there was a competition of swimming. He went to the swimming, and when all swimmers were there, he had to dive in the water. He dived in the water with others, but didn't get up. He knew the theory of swimming, but did not really know the practice of swimming. So this chapter actually tells about knowing and being. A lot of people know that there is God in all. Only some can see God in all. So Krishna has been telling about this difference in this beautiful chapter called Jnana Vijnana Yoga. So Krishna speaks here first. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Sakta Manah Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashrayah Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yata Jnasya Tatrun. Having devoted to me, having surrendered to me, and being a yogi, I want to tell you about this knowledge, the knowledge of what to do. So, know from me this highest knowledge of knowing. Go to the next one. Jnanam teham savijnanam idam moksham mesheshatva yajnatva neho boyanya jnatavyam avshishyate. I am going to tell you all about knowing and being. After knowing that, there won't be anything for you in this world to know. Here is a beautiful sentence which you have to underline. Yajnatva neho boyanya jnatavyam avshishyate. In Upanishad, there is one question asked by a student. Kasminnu bhagavo vijnate sarvamidam vijnatum bhavati. A student asks his guru, Guruji, by knowing what? I know everything and there won't be anything else to know. That knowledge, according to our Shastras, our culture, Hindu philosophy, is knowing of Brahman. So I will tell you about that. Krishna tells to Arjuna, as we are devotedly sitting at the feet of Krishna now, he is also telling to us that wonderful truth. Let us follow him. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatataamapi siddhanam kaschin mam veti tattvataha. Here is a beautiful thing told by Krishna. When we publish Bhagavad Gita like this on YouTube, really we don't intend that all would be seeing it. No, there is a culture necessary to see it also. That's exactly Krishna says. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhayet. Among thousands of men, one strives for the ultimate knowledge. Yatataamapi siddhanam kaschin mam veti tattvataha. Among them also, among thousands striving like that to know the ultimate truth, someone will know. It's just like a Olympic. Athletes come from all parts of the world who qualify for that. But one will get gold, one will get silver, one will get bronze. So this God realization also, plenty of people desire to have it, but many of them do not reach the goal. That doesn't mean their life is a waste. Krishna has promised us, Kale Natmani Vindati. In the time you will also get to that. But now you are not there. That's the point for us to understand. We go to the next one. Bhumirapo nalo vayu kammano buddhirevacha ahankara itiyam me binna prakritirashtada. Apareyamitastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param jivabhutam mahabhaho yayedam daryate jagat. Krishna gives us a beautiful explanation of what this world is. This world has earth, water, fire, air, space, mind and intellect and ahankar. These are the 8 parts in a living being. They also come from the God's nature. That is my prakriti, he says. And then there is also another. Another one is the para prakriti he calls, that is jiva. I think in one of the previous shlokas I explained, there are 2 things for us to understand in every being. There is one matter and there is one spirit. He is referring to the matter and spirit once again, saying that apara prakriti and para prakriti. So apara is our body and other things. Para is the spiritual part of it, the atmic part of it. So that is para prakriti. So every living being has two things in them. That's what Krishna advises to Arjuna and to us in these two shlokas. Etadyonini bhutani sarvani tyupadaraya aham krishnasya jagataha prabhava pralayastata. All animals on this earth, etadyonini bhutani, whatever may be the yoni in which they have been born with two only. And I am responsible for Shrishti, Sthiti and Laya of this universe. And I am the first cause of this universe. Aham krishnasya jagataha prabhava pralayastata. I am responsible for the rising of the universe and also dissolving of it. So I am the Brahma, that is Shrishtikarta, Vishnu, the maintainer, and Shiva, the destroyer. That's the concept we have got. All the three are me. That's what he says in shloka 6. We go to the next. Matta parataram nanya kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre maniganaiva. How are we related to God? Here is a beautiful explanation given by God. Underline it. There is nothing other than these two. That is entire para and apara, both prakritis are Krishna himself. And how are we? We are like a bead in a thread. So we are like, all people are living beings are like beads in a thread. Look here. Mai sarvamidam protam sutre maniganaiva. So as we are beads in a thread, all living beings are there. That's a wonderful explanation of it. There is nothing else besides me. Like clusters of yarn beads formed by the knots of a thread. All this threaded on me. All these human beings are threaded. That is, God passes through every living being, or He exists in every one of them. That is in para prakriti and apara prakriti. That's the wonderful thing. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhashmi sesasuriyoho pranavasaro vedeshu shabdakye paurusham rushu. He goes on saying what he is once again. As he is Jagadguru, he is not only teaching the brightest student on earth, he is also teaching the lowest student like me on earth. Therefore, he has to explain Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhashmi sesasuriyoho. I am sap in water. So in water, I am sap. In sun and moon, I am light. Pranavas sarva vedeshu, underline that. In all the Vedas, I am Pranavaha, that is Omkar. So when you say Om, you are saying God Himself. Wherever Om is recited, God exists there. At least a reciter must do it with that wonderful feeling. Pranavas sarva vedeshu. Of all the Vedas, I am Omkar. Omkar is the highest mantra that this culture has given to us. No good work in Indian culture will start without a Om. So with Om everything starts. Om is the highest mantra. So that's what he says. And Shabdakye Paurusham Rishu. And among men also, I am the virility. I am the strength in men. I am the strength in men. So he says, Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi sessuryoho pranavasaro vedeshu shabdakye Paurusham Rishu. And then continues, Punyo gandha prithuvyancha tejasvyasmi vibhavasau jivanam sarobhuteshu tapasyasmi tapasvishu. Continuing, he says, how are we to recognize him? Punyo gandha. Gandha means smell. Beautiful smell. Only those who do meditation know the smallest beautiful smell somewhere in the room just hits the nose. That's the divine smell. So he says, Punyo gandha, that smell is me. And then, I am the brightness in the fire. Continued, Jivanam sarvabhuteshu. I am life in every living being. Remember, I think I. As long as I think I, it is ill. As long as I think we, it is well. That is what Dr. B.M. Hegde once said. So wonderful statement. Jivanam sarvabhuteshu. I am life in everybody. Tapasya asmi tapasvishu. So I am austerity in the ascetics. Those who do tapasya, so they think from tapasya they have to reach God, but God says tapasya itself is God. Look at the beauty. When you begin to close your eye and pray God, God Himself is doing the prayer in you. That is to be understood by us to know the greatness of the culture. So wonderful is the shloka. Jivanam sarvabhuteshu tapaschasmi tapasvishu. In all the tapasvis, I am tapas. I am austerity. I am the constant prayer that they make to God. Bijam mam sarvabhutanam vidhi partha sanatanam buddhir buddhimatamasmi tejas tejasvinamaham. So he continues and says where all we can recognize him. I am the seed, the ancient seed in all the living beings. And then, eternal seed in all the beings. I am the intelligence of the intelligent. Underline this. The highest intelligent people, if they think they are intelligent, they are wrong. That intelligence is there in them that they must recognize. God has given that in them. They must be humble to God. But this is not the case. They have a super ego that we are the most intelligent people, we can do anything. But Krishna says, I am the intelligence of the intelligent. What a wonderful thing he says. How it comes? I have seen twins born of the same mother, drinking same milk, having gone to same school. How is that one becomes the most brilliant and gets very high in life, and another doesn't understand anything and he lives very low? This is here we must know that intelligence is not you have made what you have got, it is there in you. Accept that first. When you accept this intelligence of yours is given by God, immediately you surrender to God. So the glory of the glorious I am, the glory of the glorious people is also me. That is what Krishna says to us. Then continues, Balam balavatam chaham kamaraga vivarjitam dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. Here is another beautiful thing which you have to understand. I am the might of the mighty. I am the might of the mighty. But that is useful for the good. Might useful for the good is me. Look here. I am the mighty of the might, free from passion and desire. If it is useful for the social good, that might is me. That's what God says. In beings, I am sexual desire, not conflicting with the virtue or scriptural injunctions. Underline that. I usually tell, what would happen if for 10 years the opposite sex do not attract each other? Where does it spring from? I have seen wonders in animal world. A lioness, when it is in heat, the lion which is miles away recognizes and comes and joins. It's not it who does it. It's the play of the divinity. Same is the case with men, or any living beings for that matter. In fact, in some of the mating section, in one of the spiders, after the mating, the female would eat away the male. Even then that wouldn't stop. So that is where God says, I am kamosmi. I am the desire for procreation. That's the wonderful thing he says. Dharma viruddha bhutesha. That which is against dharma. According to law it must be. We have every country has its own law for men and women to be with them. That is what's called a marriage, or living together, which one has to get a recognition from the government, at least ultimately. So that whatever is according to the law coming together, it is, God says, me. Look at the beautiful thing. So what goes on between a young pair of husband and wife in a room is not that what they do, it's what God does through them. Going to the next one. Yechaiva sattvika bhava rajasas tamasasye matta evetti tan viddhi natvaham teshu temai. There are three gunas in nature which I have already told, and we will go in detail in 14 chapters onwards. They are sattva, rajas and tamas. They all come out of me. They all are granted by me. And they are in me, but I am not in them. This is a paradox. It is only for God, only possible for a God. A paradox is not possible for a man, but possible for a God. They are all in me, but I am not in them. This is a thing which you can underline and reflect over. And anything is possible for a God, but anything is not possible for a man or possible to understand in a human brain. We have to understand. Therefore, Tanvaham teshu temai. They are all in me, but I am not in them is to be understood in a different way. Tribir gunamair bhavair ebhi sarvamidam jagat mohitam nabijanati mamebhyah paramavayam. The whole of this creation is deluded by these objects, evolved from the modes of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And that is why world fails to recognize me. Look here, the beauty. World doesn't recognize God because we are all involved in this Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. We are carried away by these gunas into do something where we go out and try to find out the happiness and truth. Happiness. But we will never turn inside and try to find what is happiness in us. Mohitam nabijanati. He will be deluded. And that is why world fails to recognize me, standing apart from these and imperishable. So imperishable, we don't recognize that one because of these gunas. That is the beauty of this world. That's what we call Maya. It looks so true. In fact, in Upanishad there is an interesting thing which is not there in Bhagavad Gita. Let me tell you in the shortest. Mandukya Upanishad recognizes 4 states of being in a man. The awakening state, Jagrat it calls. This world that we are living. So this we call real. When we go to sleep, we begin to have a dream. As long as dream is over, dream is also real. If you see a snake in your room or a fire in your dream, even after the dream is over, you will be shaking for some more time with fear. So dream is also true as long as you are in dream. And the third state is the dreamless state. And our Upanishads recognize the fourth one, which is not being given any name, and says Chaturiya. That is the fourth state, wherein I, you and everything is merged in the universal cosmic being, cosmic consciousness, or God, or Brahman, whatever you call. So we have to be in the waking state, in this consciousness, that is to be known. Of course, we can only try to reach there, but whenever there is grace, these things are possible. So he says wonderfully that because of these, people do not recognize. Daivi hesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. Underline this. Most wonderful shloka. This is the most wonderful Maya of mine. Consists of 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, and very difficult to overcome. It's not easy to overcome, but there is a way. Krishna doesn't make us helpless. Mameva ye prapadyante mayametam tarantite. Those who depend on me, those who are devoted to me, those who consider me to be their master and try to understand him will cross this. Underline that. Mameva ye prapadyante mayametam tarantite. Who constantly adore me alone are able to cross this. And we remember, probably you remember I told, Kaivartaka Keshavaha. So we pray God, we pray Krishna to take our boat safely to the other side of the river for us to cross the river of the worldly problems. So wonderful is this shloka. Mameva ye prapadyante mayametam tarantite. Those who depend on me, those who surrender to me will overcome this maya. So then they will get the being of it. And we go to the next one. Namam dushkritino moodaha prapadyante naradamaha mayapaharta jnanam asuram pavamashritaha. The same time, those whose consciousness is driven away by maya, those who have asuri prakriti in them, those who are demonic nature, they will never worship me. Even the highest of God's grace, when people receive, they may not even recognize this is because of God I got it. There are people I have seen, I have read. When an aeroplane falls, somehow a person is saved, falling on the ground. I was reading that incident. Not even once there is a memory that God helped me to live. He goes on saying it happened like me, like that, like that, like that. Sometimes we are in such maya, even in such situation we do not recognize the existence of God. But many can do it. Many can do it. So maya aparta jnanam. Jnana, their knowledge is taken away by this maya and they will never recognize God. Look here the beauty that is Krishna saying to us. That is why all people cannot come to Bhagavad Gita. All people do not come to Bhagavad Gita. All people may not come to Bhagavad Gita. Only some who are actually the luckiest, Manushyanam Sahasreshu, one among the thousands, will come, read, enjoy, practice, know the truth of it. And it could happen to us also if we do it politely. We go to the next one. Chaturvida bhajante mam janas sukritinorjuna artho jignasurartharti jnani cha bhartashyapa. Underline this. 4 kinds of people worship me. It is Krishna's analysis of human beings who worship God. 4 kinds of people worship me. All of them are good. Jana, Chaturvida bhajante mam, Jana, Sukritinarjuna. All the 4 are good. Who are the 4 kinds of people who worship God? Artha, that is one who is in trouble. One who is in sorrow. One who is in great danger. And the second one is Artharthi, one who wants money. One who wants property. One who wants prosperity. So for them, they go to the God and offer so many things to God, do so many sacrifices to God, so many homas and other things to God, just to get these things. So they also pray God. That is what Krishna says, Artharthi. So Artha first, Artharthi second. Third one is Jignasu. Jignasu is a person who suddenly gets certain questions. What is this I in me? How is that I feel I and I every time? Where was this spirit when I was not born? Where would it go when this body falls? Would anything remain at all? Is there any spirit beyond what I think I? If that spirit is, what is that? If that is Brahman, how do we know that? All this question after question comes to him. He will not be comfortable unless he goes to some guru and gets the problem solved. So that is a Jignasu. And the last one is one who already knows God. Jnani. One who already knows God. These 4 kinds of people worship me. What a beautiful analysis of human beings. Understand? Artha, Artharthi, Jignasu and Grani. We see in a temple such as, say for example, Tirupati, even the evildoers go and offer so many things to God to save them from evil, which He won't do. Give whatever you want to give to God. So our culture believes Satyameva Jayate Nanrutam. Only truth will prevail, not falsehood. So even they offer so many things, that wouldn't be a success. A thief would be caught today or tomorrow. So God will protect him. But we have to remember, this 16th shloka is a wonderful analysis of human beings, how, why they come to the God. We see in a temple, lot of people come to the temple. They have some very simple prayer. Give a good job to my son. Let us get a good boy to our daughter as a husband. Or give me some more money. This is all. Rarely we find a man who goes to the temple and says, relieve me from these worldly problems. So these arthas are higher in number. Arthastis are higher in number. Jignasus are rare in number. Jnanis are the rarest. But they are all there. Continues Krishna. Tesham jnani nityukta ekabhaktir vishishyate. Priyohi jnaninotyartam ahancha sachamama priya. Among them, jnani is very dear to me. Others are not dear. Jnani is very dear to me. Look here. Of these, the best of the man of wisdom, ever established in the identity with me and possessed of exclusive devotion, for I am extremely dear to the wise man who knows me in reality, and he is extremely dear to me. We are dear to each other. Look here. He loves me, I love him. Priyohi jnaninorta. He is in my love and I love him too. So here is a mutual love between the human being and the God in a jnani. Others, Jignasu will turn to be a jnani one day or the other, but the two others, their purpose is just worldly ones. So but still they have come to God. That's why Krishna says, I love them too. Udara suro yevaite jnani twatvoyame matam astitaha sayukta atma mamevam uttamam gatim. At least they have come like that. All those people are noble, he says. But the man of wisdom is myself, very self. He is my Atma. That's why we think the people such as Ramana Maharshi, Paramahamsa, Chandrasekhar Bharati, many others like this, are real representatives of God for us. They represent God. So, they are very myself. Such is my view. That's my opinion, Krishna tells us. For such a devotee who has his mind and intellect merged in me, is firmly established in me alone, the highest goal. So that man is very dear to me. Jnani is the dearest. Others are also not cursed by God, but the dearest happens to be Jnani. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva saromiti samatma sudurlabha. Underline this. This Jnani will realize God when Bahunam janmanamante. This patience I told you in Dhyana Yoga, where yoga was taught, breathing was taught, which is now become International Yoga Day. UNO has recognized it, which we all know. So here, those who have been trying to know me, Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate. After many janmas, many births and rebirths, they will come to me. That's exactly what Krishna says. How do we know? Then what do they know? Vasudeva Sarvamiti. They know Vasudeva is everything. They know Krishna is everything. They know Atman is everything. They know Brahman is everything. They know God is everything. They know Absolute is everything. So they know that Absolute only exists. Look here at the beauty, then they will know Absolute is everything. God is everywhere in everyone. This is realized. This realization is Vijnana. That's what in the beginning I told, it is Jnana and Vijnana. This realization is Vijnana. This is a beautiful shloka. Underline it and we go to the next one. Kamaistaistaye rata prapadyante anya devataha tam niyamamastaya pragatya niyata swaya. Those whose wisdom has been carried away by various desires. As I quoted earlier, a mother wants a good job for her son or good health for the children and so on, and they are doing something being prompted by their own nature. So they will have some of their own desires. They worship other deities. So they go on worshipping for some things they worship. That is in India we have plenty of gods. That's why in American temples I have seen, when we go to a temple, all God's statues are there. Durga is there, Krishna is there, Anjaneya is there, Rama is there, what not. All God from all parts of India, because people come to such temples from all parts of the country. But Krishna, look here at the beauty of Krishna. So they will have different deities for different things. There is a joke. A man had lost his wife and he was praying in Rama's temple. Look at my condition, Rama. I have lost my wife. I can't find her. She is missing. Somebody asked him, what are you praying for? I lost my wife. I am finding for her. He said, this God is useless for that. Go to Hanuman. He found Rama's wife and he will be able to help you to find your own wife. And then he went to that temple, they said. That's just a joke. But people really do certain things for different gods. I usually make fun of people. We have plenty of gods. One for Sunday, one for Monday, one for Tuesday, one for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and all. And we don't have a God whom we permanently pray. When we are in difficulty among those gods, probably God will get a doubt who must go and help you. That's why my belief is, have faith in one God. One God. He you must see, or she you must see. Behind, before, left, right, up, down, and within you also, and within everybody. If that happens, you know the God. So wonderful shloka it is. So they will worship different gods for different purposes. He says, Yo yo yamyam tanum bhaktaha shraddhaya architumichyati tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidudamyam. Underline this shloka. This shloka shows the greatness of Bhagavad Gita. Yo yo yamyam tanum bhaktaha shraddhaya architumichyati. Look here, Krishna promises us, you can take whichever God you want, and I will give you stability in you for the same God. What a beautiful thing. Probably no religion would say this. Whatever God form, if you want to worship God in the form of Ganesha, do it. Saraswati, do it. Lakshmi, do it. Shiva, do it. Whatever form you want, you do it. God says in Bhagavad Gita, I will confirm, I will make their belief strong in that God. Beautiful is this shloka, this one. I think you have underlined. We go to the next one. Sataya shraddhya yuktas tasya aradhanamehate labhate cha tatah kaman mayaiva vivitan hitan. So that God he worships. God gives him strength to worship that God. Makes his belief strong in that God. And he thinks he gives him some a result for what he has prayed for. But Krishna says, ultimately, whatever God they worship, They are worshipping me only. In that form, I give them whatever they want, whatever they need, whatever they deserve. Look here at the beauty of it. Sataya Shraddhaya Yuktas Tasya Aradhana Mehate Lavate Cha Tathak Kaman Maya Iva Vitan Nitan. That's here we say Sarvadeva Namaskaraha Keshavam Pratigacchati. Fall at the feet of any god, it goes to Keshava. One God exists. And whichever form you worship, that goes to him. That is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. You must be proud of yourself. And we go to the next one. Antavattu palam tesham tadbhavat alpamedasam devan devayujayanti madbhaktayanti mamapi. And then these pretty prayers get pretty results. I usually say to the Bhagavad Gita students of mine, go and don't pray anything to God. Supposing you pray for your son to give the position of an IAS officer, he may say yes. But you may be hindering his progress. Probably God thought that he should have made him the Prime Minister of a country. So go and pray. Simply pray. You have a right to pray for your children. Don't ask for anything. God may be giving more than what you ask for. Just wait and see. Have patience in you. Have patience that God can do anything. So, he says, what they ask for is only a temporary thing. It's not permanent. And if they want some smaller God, they will reach that far smaller God only. And those who worship me truly, ultimately, those who worship Krishna comes to Krishna only. So what is better is to be thought by every devotee. After reading these two shlokas, we go to the next one. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mam buddhaya param bhavamadjananto mamavya manuttamam. And then he says, those who do not have intelligence do not know my full glory, my full power. They will think God like a human being, who is also born, lived and died. This is one thing that I must tell you. When avatar happened, Rama came on earth, we consider him an avatar. After his purpose of his avatar was over, he leaves his body and gets away. Krishna also goes away. But that doesn't mean he depends on his body. So here he says, some people think that I depend on body to exist. Not at all. That's why I say, he is to your left, he is to your right, left, behind, front, back, up, down, and within and also outside. So God is there everywhere. That is to be recognized. Naham prakashas sarvasya yogamaya samavurtaha moodoyam na vijanati loko mam ajamavayam. This is my yogamaya. Everybody cannot see me. As we told in the beginning, manushyanam sahasreshu kasid yatati siddhayet. Of the 1,000 men, someone will strive. So in the same he repeats, so I cannot be seen by everybody. Therefore, those who cannot see may say that God does not exist, or even if it exists, he exists in a human form. And even they think that the God also has a birth, life and death, which is not the truth. We go to the next one. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kasyana. Underline this shloka. I know everything. I know the past, present and future. God knows past, present and future. And I am not known truly by anybody. Even a God-realized person may not dare to say that I have seen God. He sees God in everybody, but if you ask the question, have you seen him? How can he say yes? He sees in everybody. So Vedaham samatitani. I know the past, present and future of everything. Those who are not devoted to me do not know me. Ichchadvesha samuttena dvanda mohena bharata sarvabhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. And then he continues and says, in this creation, likes and dislikes are there, happiness and sorrows are there. Because of these, the worldly beings are deluded. So when we are happy, we are not worried. When we have sorrow, we go to some God and ask him to take us away from that sorrow. So we are deluded by this. Continued. Tesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridavvrataha. But those who worship me continuously, those in whom all the papas have diminished, those who do not have any jealousy for anything, those who love everybody as God himself, they will know me everywhere. They will worship me everywhere. So, there are people who have seen God, they worship God, they see God in everything, he says. We continue. Jara marana mokshaya mamashritya etantiye te brahma tadvidu krutsnam adhyatmam karma chakilam sadi bhutadi daivam mam sadi yajnancha ye viduhu prayana kale picha mam te vidur yukta chetasa. Surrendering to me. So those who know Adhyatma, that is, they try to know Atman. Adhyatma means that which is related to Atma or Brahman. Those who are trying to know Adhyatma do all their work for God's sake. And they will know what is Adibhuta, what is Adidaiva, what is Adiyajna, and such people, that is, they know everything about the creation, what it is, how it is, when it is, what happens, and everything they know. And those people, what happens? At the time of their death, they come to me. Here is a wonderful thing. Look here. They know me at the time of their death. Antakale cha mameva prayanakale picha mam. At the time of the last journey, man sees God. Many cannot do this, but those who are devoted, that is ultimately Vijnana. Those people who are really devoted will really come to me when they leave the body. So that is the wonderful chapter. What is that Adibhuta, Adidaiva, Adiyajna, etc. we will explain in the next chapter. As I told you earlier, in every chapter, when we come to the last certain shlokas, that will give a small introduction to the next chapter. This is in length described in the coming chapter, so we will not bother about this. With that, we come to the end of the 7th chapter called Jnana Vijnana Yoga. A discussion between Krishna and Arjuna in this Yoga Shastra of Bhagavad Gita and in this Brahma Vidya class. So, this is the 7th chapter. Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanam.